Hi, everybody. This is Dr.
Get ready to be amazed. Get ready to know things that are usually unknowable. Get ready for an hour of insight.
Okay, I don't know what's happening, Jonathan, but it's okay. We're gonna have to redo the. This is Dr. Linda Salvin. Welcome to the show. We're having some technical difficulties today with some of the intros. For some reason, they're not playing properly. I have a guest today. If you've been following me for the last couple of months, I've been doing a lot of interviews with people that have unique experiences in life, and I always tie it in with a spiritual experience, being a psychic healer and a medium for the last 35 years on radio, TV, and whatnot. So you know me from FM, AM, cable, internet, a number of TV shows through the years, and I got into the YouTube thing a few months ago, and here we are. As far as doing readings on the air today, I will not be doing readings today. That's going to be at a different time. I'm bringing on a man by the name of Alan Nathanson. He's been in the music industry for over 5 decades, which is not usual these days, but a lot of people burn out after one song. He's lucky he even got, where he got. When you hear his repertoire, we're going to be playing about, 15 samples of his work. You're going to love his melodies. There's one EP called Winds of Fate that is online everywhere, and all the proceeds are going to Ukraine, which is great. And you're going to find this man fascinating, adorable, personable, and we'll bring him on. Hi, Alan. Thank you for joining the show. Let's bring on
Dr.
Jonathan.
Linda.
Hey, Alan, let's bring on my engineer, Jonathan, for a moment.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi. So,
hello. Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm going to have you edit it so that Alan has a clean shot, a clean piece. There's always a glitch. It's just, there's too, whatever. I want you to explain. I mean, you don't have to go back to grammar school because you're such a musical genius, but I mean, how you got into rock and roll during the height of the what some of the people I've known in the industry, because we're about the same age, was the Camelot days of music. I mean, you were right there, coming up with the Joni Mitchells and the rock and roll scene and the James Taylor and the Springsteens. I mean, you played with a lot of these people, and you've worked with people that have worked with these people. You've got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to give you the stage. Okay. Jonathan's going to cue up some of your songs. I can mention what they are after a few minutes of you telling a little bit of the story. I'll say, okay, let's play this, let's play that, and we'll give the audience a piece of information and sampling of who you are musically.
Sounds good.
Go.
Well, for me, it started in where I was raised and brought up in Detroit, Michigan. So the earliest that I can remember is being around 9 years old. And they used to do, I don't know if they still do this in elementary school, but they used to do music aptitude tests where they would find out where your strengths were, where your weaknesses were, and they'd be able to guide you, into, what you would do later in life. So for some reason, I scored very high on a music aptitude test, and they stuck me with the violin.
Really?
Which I had a large problem with bowing. I couldn't get the bowing down. The fretting I had no problem with, but the bowing was extremely difficult.
I never understood fretless instruments like the bass or the violin, or because I play guitar, and I understood the frets and my 6 strings, but I could never. And I'm a picker more than a strummer. I've always picked, but when there's no fret, I find it fascinating that you learn where the notes are to make it happen. So was that challenging for you?
Extremely challenging. I didn't last too long on it. I came home and I started playing the violin like a guitar and jumping up and down on my bed. And so I told this story. I'm jumping ahead a number of years, but I told this story on Star Search. I don't know if your viewers will remember Star Search.
I remember that.
Yeah, I did the pilot for Star Search when I was using my professional name. It's Chris Allen, and I told this exact story that I'm telling you on Star Search. So anyways, I came home and I was jumping up and down on my bed, playing it like a guitar. And my dad was a very smart and intuitive man, and he got the hint and he went out and bought me a guitar, and I stayed with that.
I started with guitar at age 9. I couldn't figure things out. I used to throw them against the wall and break the neck. I have the same one. My dad said, "This is your last guitar or no more." And it's still sitting here. I still have it from like the 60s, and I have an acoustic. But your musicianship evolved. You are like, I'm going to say, you're obsessed with the Beatles. I don't know how far back that goes, but all your posts are always about the Beatles. So do you identify with one of the Beatles? Do you see yourself as that kind of rock and roll kind of guy with that kind of band? You have been in a lot of bands. Talk about your recordings. I mean, you were signed with MGM as a staff writer and
well, you're going to my Los Angeles days. It actually started.
All right, then let's go back to Detroit, where I went to school in Ann Arbor. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I started.
I've been to Michigan.
I had a band called the Dynamics, and we were asked to perform at a summer camp called Tamaqua in Algonquin Park, Canada. And as campers, we got a discount on the fee, and then they asked us to be, the entertainment. So they ended up actually making a movie of this camp called Indian Summer with Alan Arkin. And
I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. I went to that camp when I was 16 years old. And then when I came out of camp, the Beatles movie Help had just hit. And then I started putting together my first band, which was called the Trademarks. And we immediately got signed to a local label called Palmer Records. And we actually ended up recording in a very famous studio in Detroit called United Sound, where John Lee Hooker recorded, Muddy Waters, Aretha Franklin, many, 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 many more successful and famous than me. And we recorded there.
You were in Motown.
Yeah, we were in Motown. And that studio, United Sound, was where we cut those two sides that ended up coming out on Palmer Records. And the flip side of the record actually is done better than the A side. The flip side is a song called If I Was Gone, and it's garnered thousands of views on YouTube. Good. So it's just amazing how things end up and channel and end up being what you never expected it to be.
Well, back then we didn't even have internet. Internet didn't hit to 96. So you and I grew up when, we went from AM radio to FM radio, and then we got in, we had 45s and 33s, 33 and a half, and then all of a sudden we had 8 tracks, and then it went into the evolution of the CD, and then it got into the MP3s. I mean, we have lived the whole genre of change in the music industry as well as radio. It's all the same thing. Without going further, I'm going to play just a little piece of. I just want to play. Jonathan, why don't you do Alan? Just what?
Let's give them a comp of.
Just do the comp. Just play that, please. Let's just give a sample, and then we can talk over it. I don't hear it, Jonathan. There you go.
Your love won't set me free. I'm a prisoner in my own house. Your love won't set me free. You must have.
Yeah, that's one of the songs.
It's gotten a hold of me.
Can you change the volume, Jonathan, so we can talk?
Yeah, that's one of the songs off my EP.
We're just going to run through this. We don't have 5 hours. I'd love to do 5 hours.
Sometimes when I wake up, I just want to go back to sleep. This world's too crazy.
There's this new EP online, everybody, with the fate.
Whatever happened to that dream I was dreaming? How did we ever lose that feeling?
Okay,
I don't want to open my eyes till this world's in a better place. I don't want to open my eyes. There's no ringing in your ears. Now you're friends are hard to find, just like the papers you sign.
Swept away by the wind of fate. It'll hit you when you leave. Okay.
There you go. Those are three cuts off my new EP.
Your songs are hip, and they're today, and they're contemporary, and they're timeless, but it's the words that are still catching, and they touch the soul, as opposed to the melody that's easy listening, but still has the groove going that people need today, because there's so much garbage out there. You know, it's not music like you and I grew up with, but you still do music. I still do music, but a lot of people find music to be different. I don't want to go into their music or their styles, because that's not what this show's about. But but when did you actually leave Detroit? And then tell a little story of how you got to the Jefferson Airplane House, Grace's house.
Okay.
Tell the little story.
Well, the Trademarks band morphed into a band called Everline Nevermore. And we were all part of, the Detroit music explosion. There were a lot of amazing bands coming out of Detroit, like Bob Seger and MC5 and Iggy Pop and the Stooges. We were all coming out of Detroit. We were all playing the same venues, the Grandy, the East Town. And that band ended up getting a record deal. I'm talking about my band, Everline Nevermore, ended up getting a record deal on Vanguard Records that we recorded in New York. And we were doing amazing shows. I mean, we were kids, really. But we were doing shows with Procol Harum and Spirit and 10 Years After and Norman Greenbaum with Spirit in the Sky and the Zombies and all these bands. We were put on the same shows with them, and
you had a blast. And you did your rock.
It was amazing. It was amazing. But on top of that, I was going to school at Wayne State University because I made a promise to my parents that I wouldn't quit school. And it was difficult because you'd play till 2 a.m, then I'd have to get home and go to sleep and wake up for an 8 o'clock
and
class.
Try to study at some point in between.
Exactly, it was difficult.
Studying music then as well.
I'm sorry.
Did you major in music?
I majored in mass communications.
Okay.
So that was my major in college, but it basically was just to please my parents.
I understand.
And then from that band. We kind of reached the end. The egos got out of hand. We were getting a lot of notoriety, articles in the newspaper, doing TV shows. And then everybody just started, acting strange and different. And new management came in. And I just decided, and the drummer and myself, actually, the drummer's name, by the way, was Jack Daniels, his real name.
Okay.
We used to call him the whiskey bottle.
Yeah,
we used to call him the whiskey bottle. So anyways, him and I decided to get in a car, which was my sister's 68 Firebird. I can't even believe to this day. Thank you, Alan Nathanson. She lent me the car and we drove down to New Orleans and got caught in a monsoon in Mississippi. And we pulled over there. Some guys helped us out, took us to their place in Mississippi. And then we went to my first Mardi Gras. I've been to a few of them, or a couple of them at least. And they took us to my first Mardi Gras in New Orleans. And then we met some amazing people who were friends with Hot Tuna, which was kind of an offshoot of the Jefferson Airplane.
I know some of the players still here today. Yeah.
So they said, hey, when you want, we're gonna be coming down there in the summer. Why don't you join us? And so I quit the band. And I started writing songs, and I made a decision that I was going to go to Los Angeles via San Francisco. And my sound man at the time, Shel Pastor, was worried about me. So he came with me, got on a plane with me, and the two of us landed in San Francisco. And these friends of Hot Tuna met us. And the next thing I know, I'm staying in Grace Slick's bedroom, and I'm playing her piano.
In a mansion in San Francisco.
Yeah, 2400 Fulton Street. I remember exactly the address. And their business manager, Augie Bloom, was a really, really nice guy and filled out my address book for me. He said, oh, you're going to LA, so why don't you look up these people and just tell them Augie sent you? And so that's what I did, and that got me to LA.
Michael Nesmith at the Monkees. Let's go to that one.
Okay, well, that was one of the names he put in my address book. I still have the address book. I should have brought it with me.
I bet you do.
Yeah, and so we hitchhiked to back in those days you could hitchhike.
Yeah.
Hitchhike. Nowadays Kids don't do that.
And
But
murdered.
back then, you just stuck your hand out on the interpass, and then we got picked up by this guy named Floyd who sold pots and pans, and he was going to Los Angeles, and he said, if you guys don't have any place to stay, you can sleep on my floor. So that's what I did.
Oh my God, you just had every gate open for you. It's like they were waiting for you to get here, and it just exploded. Hold on.
So I really only.
Okay,
Go
but
ahead.
I want to play some more. I want to just play a bit of Into Space. What's this from? We got to go back and forth because I can't go chronologically. You've
That's
got
fine.
too much for one show. It's so brilliant. Here, talk about this. It's going to load for Jonathan. None of these are playing. I don't get it. I don't know what it's. There it goes. I love the drums on it. You like those?
You got it made. Everybody's telling you that you're great. The king's gonna sing your song with a wave of the hand he's gone. You just got hit by the winds of fate.
I love that. Let's go to this one. You're so diverse. That's what I love about your music. You're not just the same, where some people sound the same album after album after album. It's their signature. You're not like that. I know it's your tunes. I know it's your samples. I don't know why we're not able to flip the tunes straight up. It's jumping around on its own. Jonathan said we had these problems earlier. I don't know why. I love this. Like you're on the road, you can feel your legs that way. Have any of your songs ever been in movies?
Yeah, this is from my band Grey Dog. It's called Cadillac. This was actually licensed by Mary Kay Cosmetics.
I got the road to run. Come on, honey, let's go. We're gonna take a ride. We ain't gonna take it slow. I got a hunger burning like a heart attack. Let's keep the top down. We'll never look back. Come on, honey, let's take a ride in my Cadillac.
Alan, I can play your music all day long, but I want to hear the story of you.
Thank you very much.
I want to switch gears for a second because we're coming into Passover, which is one of the major Jewish holidays, as we know. And I know that you have an ancestor somewhere along the line in your blood and genetics who actually wrote the song Hava Nagila. Every Jewish girl and boy knows that song, even if it's the Gentiles at a wedding or a bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah. It's Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila, Hava. We all learn it as children, and we learn it and sing it all our lives.
That's right.
How did you discover that your relative wrote that?
Well, I had no idea, obviously. I mean, I played in bar mitzvah.
Reincarnated.
Yeah, I played in bar mitzvah and wedding bands my whole life. Indeed.
You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me.
Go ahead.
If he died in 1981, but you may still have a part of his soul. So the two of you, this is where my stuff comes in besides the music. So on the spiritual level, you two probably knew each other back when he was alive, but your whole ancestry from wherever the lineage is from was musical. So you've inherited a lot of the familial creative aspects from past lives and this life. Absolutely. But I just think it's fabulous. I mean, who would know? Yeah, you never wonder. Who would have thought that your relative wrote Hava Nagila? And here you are.
Well, I never thought it. It was brought to me by my cousin Idel, who lives in Jerusalem, and she told me to check out this book on Amazon, which I did, and there it is. Moshe Nathanson wrote the lyrics to. Moshe Nathanson wrote the lyrics to Hava Nagila. Yeah, complete surprise. I had no idea.
I'd be thrilled. I'd be surprised too. But you're not related to the hot dogs.
No.
All right, let's go back to the music. Okay, so you get into LA, you meet Michael Nesmith. Was he already with the Monkees at that time? Had they
No, he
started the
was
Monkees?
recording. No, this was the summer of 71. So he was
Oh, they
recording
were
his solo.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
were over. He was recording his solo album at RCA and invited me down. Yeah, it was great. He was a really, really nice guy. I wish I could have thanked him later in life, but I never had the chance.
And BJ Thomas, you were close to him. He's
Well,
gone.
BJ
You've
Thomas, I
met
wasn't
so
close
many.
to him. That
But
was
you've
a
met all these people. You've met.
Yeah. Well, he recorded a song I co-wrote with Hall of Fame songwriter who was our producer, Nathanson and Schoenholz. We were an artist on Capitol.
Was that in
And
'74 or so? Back in the '70s?
that was 74. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been writing songs with Steve Dorff for years. So we wrote this song together and he called me and said, hey, guess what? BJ Thomas is going to record it. Why don't you come down to the studio? And so I got a chance to meet BJ. And watch him record my song.
Yeah, but I mean that's what's fascinating. I mean, you lived your dream.
I have
lived
lived
your
my dream.
Okay,
I'm
you've
very
lived the
thankful.
dream that a lot of people dream about dreaming and not maybe
Right.
getting up and doing it or getting out there. Like me, I ran, I got there, and then when it was offered to me, I stepped away for whatever reason. I can still go back. Yes, I know a lot of the same people you do, but I haven't had the experiences, obviously, any more than you've had mine. But let's go to the personal side for just a moment besides the music. So you're married, you've got kids, and you're a grandfather, and you still do your music. Because what people need to understand in life, that the soul and emotion continues regardless if you're 9 or you're in your 70s or 60s or 40s or 50s. It's just who you are. And a lot of people don't know that. They stop growing or they give up or they say, no, I'm too old or whatever. So your music or my music, anybody's music will keep you young, just like writing or racing cars or listening to music or gardening. People have to stay motivated. What keeps you motivated?
I have no choice. I mean, the songs come through me and I must write them. And that's basically how it is. I either get a lyric or I get a melody. And I follow through on it. And I'm lucky to have the time and the means. I'm very lucky to have the time and the means to be able to do that. And I'm very thankful that I have my health because a lot of people do not.
No, they don't, especially at this age and going forward.
I think exactly.
You know, our generation of musicians are in their 80s, turning 80 and above now. It's kind of strange. A friend of mine was on a cruise ship with some major bands like the Beach Boys not too long ago, and he came back to say everybody's in wheelchairs and on crutches, and they're all these old people. I said, that's us. We were the teenagers when these bands were hip, you know?
That's right.
But we have our health.
Right.
Health and wellness is what keeps you going. Without health, you have no life. I mean, you can still have your life, but you got to stay healthy in order to embrace the best of it.
I'm very lucky to have all those ingredients, and that's what keeps me going. And music, I think, you know the old expression, Linda, music keeps you young?
Yes. And it
there you go.
It does, which is why I may just pick up the guitar again. I've got to get my songs up here. I got to tell Jonathan to upload my own tunes. But let's go back to after the 70s, when you were signed with MGM, then what happened?
Well, we had actually 2 deals on MGM. We had one deal with a label called Sunflower, which was an album deal, and it was with Mac David, who was Hal David from Brack Racket. Yeah, Mac David. And he, I didn't know this at the time because back then, of course, we didn't have Google or Safari or were able to get anything.
Isn't it a weird world? Yes.
but now I looked him up and he wrote Hello Dolly. He wrote the theme songs to 77 Sunset Strip and Hawaiian Eye. And, you know, he wrote and he's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame too. Actually, he's the one that signed us to and a guy named Marshall Lieb actually came to our apartment and heard our demo at Larry Shane Music, which was Henry Mancini's publishing company, and signed us to the deal. And we were in the studio within a couple of weeks recording our album. The problem we had was Mike Curb, who ended up becoming Lieutenant Governor of California.
Right.
He was the head of MGM Records at that time. And halfway through our album.
Wow.
Yeah, he also had a group called the Mike Curb Congregation. And that was it. He came down and just said, Mac David is retiring to Palm Springs, and that's the end of your deal. No, that was it. We were cut
so
short,
the highs and
just like that.
lows, the highs and lows of life, like anybody else, you're riding the tide, and all of a sudden the rug's pulled up from underneath you. Then comes the, what are we going to do? Or you're depressed, or you're lethargic, or you don't have no hope
Well,
or
we were
faith. What kept
definitely-
you going again? What got you
We were
back up?
definitely, well, we were definitely depressed because we were halfway through recording
How
an
can
album.
you
But
not
what
be?
happened? But what happened was that there was a producer named Bill Criswell who was actually doing the on-site producing of our music on Sunflower Records, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to take you over to this guy named Doug Gilmore, and he'll get you re-signed to MGM." And so that's what happened. We went over there. He had an office in the back of the legendary United Western Recording Studios, and he heard us, and we auditioned for him, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to take you back to MGM, and I'm going to get you re-signed." And that's what happened. And the next thing we know, the next thing I know, we were in the studio with the legendary Wrecking Crew studio musicians, the same musicians that backed up the Beach Boys.
Because a lot of people watching, listening don't know who or what the Wrecking Crew was. Elaborate a little bit, please. I know what it is, but
the Wrecking Crew were the Wrecking Crew were the studio musicians that backed up. They were hired on musicians that backed up legendary acts that you and I grew up on, like the Beach Boys, Mamas and Papas, Simon and Garfunkel, all the records that you and I were listening on the radio.
All the instrumentation, all the different musicians are called studio musicians.
The Byrds, Paul Revere and the Raiders, they played on a lot of the stuff, I should say, not all of it, but a lot of it.
Had every instrument, and when people hear an album produced versus seeing them in concert, a lot of the times it's distorted because the album's so big and orchestrated, and then you see 4 or 5 people on stage, it doesn't have the same sound. You know it's them because the lyrics and the melody, but the whole production's different. People don't understand there are musicians hired to do the music. Go on.
So when I was 22 years old, Steve Schoenholz and I were signed as Nathanson and Schoenholz, which was the same name we went by on our first deal with Sunflower Records. And there we are in the studio with the 2/3 of the Golden Trio, Hal Blaine, Joe Osborne. And then we wanted the keyboard player that we heard on Loggins and Messina sitting in the album, a guy named Michael Omartian. And I just said, look, I know you want to put in Larry Knechtel, which would have been great. But we said, hey, we really want Michael Omartian. And so next thing I know, there we are in Studio A in United Western recording with the legendary Wrecking Crew musicians for our record.
Have you written a book on all this yet? Or is it
I've had so many people on Facebook say, you have to write a book, you have to write a book. And I think maybe at one point, I try to reflect it in my songwriting. You know, the songs that you're hearing.
Yeah, because that's your emotional outlet. And I understand that because I can write all the sad love songs of who hurt me and who I thought I loved and all that versus what's happening now. My whole life's been in a journal since I was 14, like you. I write, it comes out, and people don't understand when that urge or that lyric or that melody, maybe you wake up in the middle of the night and there's that hook or there's those few words. You've got to write it down or it goes away and you forget it. Or then once you get into it, and then it's composing the verses and the chorus, and then the second verse. People don't understand the rhythm and the formula that goes along everything. So I can write songs. It's not that easy. There is a formula. You happen to be gifted. You should be very, very proud of yourself. I need to take a break. I'm going to put you in the back. Jonathan, come forward. This is going to talk. We're going to talk about Wicks of Wisdom for a second. Jonathan, where are you? So he walked away with his daughter. Probably I'm going to do it. Oh, you're there.
I'm here. So I'd like to actually take the time to play one of my favorite tunes from this compilation.
Yeah, we will, but I got to do the Wicks of Wisdom first. Hold on, and then we'll come back to that, okay? Let's just do Wicks of Wisdom. Jonathan just ordered 5 sets of Wicks of Wisdom, folks. Wicks of Wisdom is my candle line that's been going on since 1999. If you need money, success, opportunity, love, win lawsuits, whatever, it's a combination of Kabbalah mixed with Santeria. And I just found out that it's going to be distributed in over 500 stores nationwide. I'll bring you up to date about that as it unfolds. Hold on, here's just a little clip on Wicks of Wisdom.
Use this set of candles to assist in strengthening the immune system, heal from various ailments, enhance general health and well-being, and target and help heal specific health issues. They can expedite the healing process, and they're great to use before and after surgeries, and it can encourage physical, emotional, and spiritual healing.
DNA Power. This set of candles helps bust through confusion in love, career, relationships, decision-making, and other situations. Harmony Power. Burn this set to improve dysfunctional situations, improve balance and harmony in unsettled environments within yourself and others, whether at work or home.
Okay, everybody, those are wicks of wisdom. Wicks of wisdom work like a prescription for your soul. You get 4 bottles of essential oils, your 3 candles, the herbs, the powders, the parchment paper, 2 pages of instructions that are on the PDF file, and all the videos that are out now. But everything's 15% off the candles and services right now because the new website went up last week, lindasalvin.com. Go to the site, 15% off, and they're yours. Jonathan, you've got health and wellness and good luck being shipped to you and a friend in Washington, D.C., but we'll get back to the candles later. What is it that you wanted to play of Alan's now?
Well, one of my very favorite tunes from this collection was I Don't Want to Open My Eyes.
I love that.
We'll go ahead and play it, and then
go ahead.
I'd like to ask Alan a couple questions after. So
absolutely, go.
Sometimes when I wake up, I just want to go back to sleep. This world's too crazy, too cruel, too hard to me. Whatever happened to that dream I was dreaming? How did we ever lose that feeling? I don't want to open my eyes till this world's in a better place. I don't want to open my eyes till all hate has been erased. What are you afraid of? Is it me or is it someone else? I think that one day you're gonna have to deal with yourself. Don't we all want the same thing? To dance and laugh and sing. I don't want to open my eyes till this world's in a better place. I don't want to open my eyes till all hate has been erased.
Let's tone that down, Jonathan. Start fading it.
Thinking back on all the years, through the smiles and the tears.
Jonathan. Jonathan, you can't hear
I'm
me.
here.
Okay, what did you want to ask Alan? I love this song. It's spiritual. It's about the soul. It's emotion. It's who we are. What do you want to know? How he came up with that? What's your question?
Exactly. How when and at that time, do you remember, what you were going through and what inspired that song? Because I get, like Linda said, so much spiritual message from it, but also such a self-reflective one that seems, introspective, but also considers everybody involved. So it's a universal song.
And I think it's one of the best you've done. Is it more contemporary? When did you do this? When did you release it? Because that ties into the show here. I mean, everything does because it's you and your background, but that touches my purpose to help people. Where did the song come from?
Once again, it's one of those things that just comes to you. The title came to me, and then I started writing it. But before I go on, I have to acknowledge my co-producer on the EP Winds of Fate, who's Marty Rifkin.
Yes.
Who has played with Tom Petty and Bruce Springsteen and and Jewel and many others, and has gold records with a few of them. So
And you've
I have to
introduced me to
acknowledge
him, and I'm going to probably go maybe lay down some tracks with him. Thank you for
You
that
should.
introduction. Yeah.
you're welcome. Yeah, he also
absolutely gets the credit.
Right, he- not
Next
only
time
did
we
he-
can have both of you on the air.
there you go. I would relish that. Not only did he co-produce it with me, but he plays bass and other instruments, pedal steel on a lot of the stuff that we recorded. So Jonathan, it just came to me. These songs were all written during lockdown from COVID.
Okay.
Stop. That's perfect. That's what I want to hear, because I coined the term hallway of transformation, knowing what the movement's all about. When we were in lockdown, a lot of people were forced to look at themselves, forced to grow, forced to become more spiritual. The whole thing's changing, where religion's not as intense and active as it was. And I've been touting spirituality since 1994 when I started radio.
Right.
After I was in a plane crash, became spiritual. So I've been at this for 30-something years, and now the world's catching up. Okay? So you're right where you're supposed to be, and more of those kind of songs are going to start pouring out of you. You're going to channel them, of course. You channel your lyrics. It's just what happens. It's your gift. I'm going to go back to your relative for a moment, because he was also, Moishe was a soldier in the Turkish army. So you must have Turkish history in you somewhere, or genetics. Who knows where you're from? Your genetics go way back. There's so many spokes to your wheel, like everybody else, and I don't even know where to concentrate. But that one song I would love to have it almost as a theme once in a while on the show here. Jonathan loves
Absolutely.
it. Jonathan, come back with your face. I don't want just your voice. Come on, show up. Get out from behind stage. You're not
come on, Jonathan.
Come
Join
on.
us. Join the party.
He's so shy. I've known Jonathan. He's been my editor
he
since
is.
2007 when he lived in LA.
Hey,
Yeah, so that's basically where it came from. I was locked down
phenomenal.
in COVID, as we all were. And the writing started happening again, because I really wasn't writing for a couple of years. I really had just kind of, I think you turn these things off unconsciously. And COVID, as you just stated, opens everything up spiritually, creatively. Yes. So I found myself.
And then the bad side or the sad side of COVID, for those that know, and for commentary, I mean, addiction went up, alcoholism went up, child abuse, domestic abuse, suicide. It really hurt a lot of people. But those that were on the right path, that understood, hey, this is an opportunity to reinvent as you transform, are people like you that took advantage of it and grew. And now you're doing something.
Or it took advantage of me. I don't know.
And you had to receive it, but the opportunity was there. But you still embraced it. You still got involved with it, and now you've got new music again. Your music doesn't die. It just doesn't. Your music is endless forever. It's it's topical, and it's classical. It is. It's not the kind of music or songs that anybody could get tired of. It doesn't have
my sister Marilyn Nathanson was a classical pianist, not professionally, but just at home. She would, and so I used to sit there watching her, and it probably, like you said, it got in. Something
was absorbed, but I think you inherited from your lineage, whatever. My mom was born in Detroit. My mom, her name was Marilyn.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather, her father was Leo. Your grandson is Leo. There's too many.
And he's a Leo.
Yeah, on top of that. But the similarity is to how all this comes together spiritually. It's like, okay, there's a Marilyn, a Detroit. There's a Marilyn, a Detroit, a Leo. The music, I mean, it's like, ooh, where does it all come about? I call that the soul circle. Somehow everything's destined as to how you meet certain people, and other people come and drift out of your life for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But are there any other songs here, Jonathan, that we want to play before we just get back into some of the story? Because this guy can talk forever about his music.
I'd be happy to answer it too.
Well, let's see. We've got "Prisoner in My Own House." Not sure why.
Well,
that's a good one. I heard it. Play that.
That's directly about COVID, because I was a prisoner in my own house.
We all were.
We all were, exactly.
Yeah, we still are in some ways, but let's not go there. Play that, please.
Okay, stand by for just a second. Not sure why it's coming though.
No, it's been coming slow on the system today. It's not us. It's just the internet's clogged up as usual. It'll come on.
Wait, I'm just re-uploading here.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and for
Jonathan.
some reason the candles are stuck on the back end. I don't know. The whole thing. We'll have to edit, which I said. We've got about another 10, 15 minutes to go.
Okay.
It's not queuing, is it? Sorry, Alan. There it goes.
That's, I don't want to open my eyes. That's okay. There you go.
I'm a prisoner in my own house. Your love won't set me free. I'm a prisoner in my own house. Your love won't set me free. You must have cast your spell. It's gotten a hold of me. I knew when I met you there was trouble from the start. I knew when I met you there was trouble from the start. Can't get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my heart. There ain't no bars on the window. The door swings both ways. If I ever leave this place, I know they're gonna lock me away.
Okay, John, bring it down.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Well,
So, Alan,
thank you.
was that talking to the pandemic? Was that you talking to the condition of our lives? Was it you expressing an emotion towards a fantasy woman? What were you talking? What was the image that when you started talking about this?
Basically about being locked down, and then I thought I'd bring it into a relationship setting so more people could relate to it.
Absolutely, got to make it general. That's why broadcasting's called broad, because it's broad for everybody.
Absolutely.
Radio's the same. Yeah. Does your wife ever get jealous about some of your songs if it may not be about her?
Well,
And you just are writing about somebody as a
They're
song?
all about her. They're all about her.
Always wondered. She seems adorable. You want to tell how you
She
guys
is.
met?
Go ahead. Oh,
Did
we
you-
met actually at a hair salon. She was there because her ex-boyfriend friend from high school was my hair cutter, and she happened to just be there.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Winds of fate. Winds
Yep.
of fate.
Everything's fate. Everything has a purpose, and if you understand the synchronicity of life and you tie it all together, then you're
Right.
on the flow, and when you're on the flow, it works. Your life always seems to work. I'm not saying you haven't had issues with health or career or finances and ups and downs with just life, but you've actually done quite well. You should be really thrilled and pleased and proud of yourself.
I'm very thankful.
Let's play one more side of Winds of Fate, John. Let's hit that one more time, and then we're going to start to fade out here, and I'll do it.
All right.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you for sharing, Alan. Wonderful. And you have to let the folks know where they can find the album. Of course, you said it's everywhere.
Yeah, we'll get there in a moment,
Okay.
and then we'll have them tag it.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Let's just play. Wait, let's try this. I got it. So slow.
I don't know.
I don't either. For some reason, we got all this technology, and it's not. There you go. Love this.
Sometimes when I wake up, I just wanna go back to sleep. This world's too crazy, too cruel, too hard to me. Whatever happened to that dream I was dreaming? How did we ever lose that feeling? I don't wanna open my eyes till this world's in a better place. I don't wanna open my eyes. There's no ringing in your ears. Now your friends are hard to find. Just
We're listening to tunes by Alan Nathanson. You can find him on every platform, Spotify, YouTube. I'll have him explain that in a moment. We can download his songs, but I just wanted to try a couple more cuts.
There'll be no way you'll detect.
Alan Nathanson's been around the music industry since he was a child. He started putting performing Alvin is now in his 70s and still rocking. He's still rocking, everybody. Music has no time, it has soul. It's all soul.
She's American made, she's a real clean machine. Just put the pedal to the metal, she'll take you places you never
Alan, where can people find your tunes and buy your EPs and download your songs on iTunes and Spotify, YouTube, all of it?
Yeah, iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube. You know, they're everywhere. And all the money, by the way, I know you said this in the beginning of our interview, but all the money, all the streaming money that comes in, I'm giving to World Central Kitchen, which helps out Ukraine.
I think it's wonderful. And the beautiful part is that you're at a point in your career you can do that. It's not that you need the money.
Very
You've
thankful.
worked hard to get to where you are to be able to donate and give it back. A lot of people don't understand that when you're going up, a lot of the times you can't just give everything away when you need to keep it to live your life that you've created. Then you get to a place in your life where you have decisions and choices and opportunities and blessings. And it's like, okay, I'm going to give back. And that's what he's done with Winds of Fate. People, go to all these different platforms. Look for Alan Nathanson, download, buy his music, send him an email. What's your what's your website address or the email?
Alan, okay,
the website.
Linda.
Sorry, yeah.
No, you're good. AlanNathansonMusic.com.
That's what I was trying to say. My brain's on fire because I've got all these lyrics running through my head. But if you want to contact him, check out this website. You'll read his bio. You'll read thousands of famous people's names that he's had contact with, and the testimonials alone cover a whole page. You would be amazed at some of the big names on that testimonial page that have given kudos.
Very
to this
thankful.
Man. Yeah, man, you've been touched by a lot of people. You've got Val Gary, you've got Steve Schoenholz, well, of course, because you guys work together. You've got Hal, you've got Marty Rifkin, you've got Maury Baker, you've got Scott Richardson. You've got all these people that have played with the major musical world of the last 50 years.
Well, you're leaving out a couple.
Well, I can't read everything.
No,
Go ahead.
I understand.
Fill in the blank. Go on.
Harry Maslin, who was David Bowie and Air Supplies, and Barry Manilow's producer. He said some nice things about me there. And also, I have to acknowledge our ex-producer for Capitol, Steve Dorff, who's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He has been very helpful to me in my career, and he said some nice words as well.
He did. I just don't have time to read it, but everybody, you can go to Alan Nathanson's website, say it again, and you can read for yourself hundreds, well, not hundreds, but a beautiful list of testimonials that will qualify this man's talent and how much you're really loved. You're admired, you're loved, and respected, Alan. You really are. You are by the industry. Thank you very much. You know, it's not everybody's out there on the biggest stage, but you've built a huge stage for yourself. You should be very, very proud. Bet your family is too. One more time, website and different platforms.
Website's Alan, in all in small caps, AlanNathansonMusic.com, and you can just put in Alan Nathanson Winds of Fate, and all the streaming services will come up.
Jonathan, show the cover one more. Here, I'll do it. There we are. Whoops.
Thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome. I think
this was just a sample and preview, but as Alan suggested, the sonic quality and the musicianship on this album is
spectacular. It's clean, it's fresh. You can hear every instrument. You can hear everything.
I'm frustrated with these glitches because it doesn't translate the same. I can't wait, as Alan suggested, to download and actually give a listen in some full quality speakers in the car.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So thank you for sharing. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
And I think Alan said he had a little surprise to close the show out.
I do. Well, before I came on, like you said, the inspiration just comes. And so I thought about, can you still see me?
Yeah.
I thought about, I'd write a little 15-second ditty as a thank you for having me on, Dr. Linda Salvin. All right.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you. Thanks for having me on. It's nice to see you. So I'm leaving you with a song. Bye, everybody.
Alan, thank you. We'll be in touch. That touches my heart. I love that. And stay backstage. I'll come back in just a moment, okay? Hold on.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed today's program with Dr. Linda. Need a breakthrough of your own? Ready for answers or insights nobody else has? Reserve your own one-on-one in-person chat. Dr. Linda isn't just for other people. Dr. Linda gets results for you. And it's easy. Contact details are on screen now. Just click on lindasalvin.com or call toll-free 888-509-1077. That's lindasalvin.com or toll-free at 888-509-1077.